He was involved in one of the later matches this afternoon, was Ouschan. He beat Alexander Kazakis 10-6. Okay then, let the action commence on table 1. Your referee is Marcel Eckhart. It is 2 Asian talents. Kyle Amoroto, just 20 years of age, from the Philippines, the underdog, against Ping Chung, looking to complete the US Open and the Hanoi Open double. Any predictions, Carl?
Well, because the tour is still growing and we're coming to new parts of the world, I've never seen Amaroto hit a ball, Phil. I do apologise. So it's hard for me to predict. He could be one of the biggest talents we've ever seen. He clearly can play, because just look at the position he's found himself in here. Just 21 years of age. Really nice young man. Spoke to him this morning for about 10 minutes. This will give us a little indication as well. This is not easy, queuing off the rail. Well, he's the real deal, Phil. Even after one shot, he's cued that beautifully off the back rail, rolled it in, centre of the pocket. I like his game already.
Played 6 matches here and won them all, and he's beaten some very good sorts. One of the leading Vietnamese players, Luong Doc Tien. His biggest scalp came in winners' qualification, overcoming Shane Van Boning 9-8. Van Boning was in to win. He potted the 7 ball, swung the cue ball across table, and very unluckily scratched to a middle pocket. So once into single elimination. Amaroto has scored wins over Patrick Gonzalez, US Mosconi Cup hopeful Oscar Dominguez, and this afternoon Aloysius Yap. Oh, now then, needing to put a little bit more pace into the cue ball to get the white past the middle pocket. That caused the pot to hang.
Probably a little bit of inexperience there on this TV table, because he could have just held the cue ball and pinched it. Didn't need to play it that firm.
As I was walking up to the commentary position, Carl, from the other side of the arena, Ping Chung was chatting away to his 2 brothers, Ping Yi and Ping Han, and he seemed very relaxed indeed, totally full of confidence. And after what he's achieved in recent times, I'm not surprised. It was a miss from Amaroto, and then punishment from Ping Chung. Still basking in the glory of his US Open victory in Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago. Mind you, that said, he lost his first match here heavily to Bernie Regalario, the 18-year-old Filipino, 9-2. So that meant a very tough road to get to this stage. Since then, well, he's reeled off 6 victories. He beats Jose Alberto Delgado 10-1, Francesco Candela 10-4, and this afternoon, in a thriller, Brought the house down with some of these combinations towards the end. Max Lechner 10-9 from 9-7 adrift. At 9-8 down, he knocked in a spectacular cushion first 1-9 combo, then won the match with a 3-9 combination. And that's Kyle Ping Chung all over. He's a shot maker.
Yeah, he's a smooth operator. He really is, and he must be feeling just so confident, you know, the fact that he's won the biggest title of them all.
Now the hand is raised there in acknowledgement. Not the best break off. The one was in centre table, and then all of a sudden it's blocked by the purple 5. Now he's not become colourblind, he's not lost count, he doesn't have any confusion about which number ball is which. You're allowed to do that when you push out. You can do anything basically. I thought it was going to drop. That is so close. The ball, Carl, is hanging right over the lip. Look at this.
Yeah, from that angle coming into the rail, I believe the ball should stay up. Don't forget this cloth. We've had a cover over it for the first 4 days of the event, so it's brand new. And if you don't know much about pool tables, once the cloth's brand new, it makes the pockets bigger. So after a few days play, we say it's been worn in, and then the pockets play a bit tighter.
Well, it was one miss from Kyle Amoroto in the first rack that cost him dear. Will it be a miss from Ko that costs him dear in the second?
I think the highlight of the week for me has just been seeing the younger generation of players. I wonder if Kyle's been affected by centre stage and also knowing about 20 feet above him, Efren Batareyas is there watching.
Yeah, I think the latter more than the former actually. Efren Reyes is such a legend. Amaroto will be well aware that the great man is monitoring his every move.
Ping Chung is not a player you can afford to give chance after chance to, though, Phil, is he? And in fairness, he's not hit his A game yet. Maybe he's waiting for tomorrow, Ping Chung. The way he finished the semi-finals and finals at the US Open. Obviously, Phil, you were skiving that week. You weren't there with us, but just the whole build-up. You know, the final day, the big American flag was there. And he just come in and played unbelievable in the semis and the final. He really did.
Skiving? Heresy.
Looks like he's going to pull the cue ball down the bottom right. Going to need to make sure he gets the right angle on the 7, because the 8 ball only goes in the pocket where the 7 ball is blocking now as you look. It's a nice camera angle we see there. That gives you an idea of the arena and the crowds. Fantastic crowds here, Phil. I mean, sometimes the images don't really do it justice because they're quite spread about a little bit, but certainly at the end of the Jason Shaw match, the noise in here was like a football match.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Carl. Today the crowd has been absolutely terrific and they've really enhanced the whole occasion. Quite a number of them were drawn to the Efren Reyes exhibition, so there's been competing attractions here. Oh, now then, he applied side, he had to. It was running side. That makes the pot just a little bit more complex, but even so, that was a really surprising miss.
Yeah, just been slightly off his game today. Really has. And at 9-8 down rather against Lechner, he was a little bit fortunate. He got left that opportunity to play the kick combo, which he made the 9. Then the next break he broke off. The 9 went near the pocket, so he only had to pot 1 ball and then play the combo again. This will help settle Amaroto down though.
Indeed it will. Just 3 balls potted. But he had to pot them, unlike our previous match when, if you're just joining us, Jason Shaw was delighted to get over the line at 10-8. He did so because his opponent, Fedor Gorsht, missed the 7 and then, looking at the table, decided to concede with 3 balls left. Was that sensible?
No, it's not sensible. It doesn't look good, but he's in the heat of battle. That's what you've got to realise. He's been playing for 2 hours. Your emotions are up and down. And you just never know. Jason Shaw, at the end of the day, had played a couple of ropey shots throughout the whole match. He nearly scratched a couple of times. You just never know, do you, Phil? The atmosphere is built up. Your back arm's shaking. If you give it them, well, you've lost the match. If you sit in your chair and wait, you just never know.
Exactly my point. And for someone who's so level-headed and sensible, I thought it was quite a surprising move. I think it just underscored the disappointment he was feeling. Because there's no doubt, Gorsht Shaw is now a major rivalry.
Well, I spoke to him 5 minutes after the match, Phil. Obviously we're documenting Jason's progress for the YouTube channel, so we're following him around with a camera. We're trying to get up close and personal. I was straight over to him. I said, Jason, congrats in the semis, great match, blah 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 blah. Then I said, boy, you're going to give him stick at this press conference come the Mosconi Cup. He will let him know about that 7 ball.
You know, Carl, when you were playing, you were known as Box Office. I think the new nickname should be The Stirrer. Mind you, you thoroughly enjoyed your Mosconi Cup rivalries, most notably with a certain Earl Strickland.
Listen, I loved the whole week of the Mosconi, very much like Jason Shaw, you know, wasn't scared to wind up the Americans. And obviously go out there and try and perform, but that's part of the show with the Mosconi Cup. You know, it's a race to 5, the crowd are on your case. The fact that Fedor missed that 7 ball right at the end shows a little bit of weakness in the big arena. Let's not forget, this is close. What a kick. Let's not forget, Phil, Gorsht is yet to play in a Mosconi Cup with a crowd.
Yeah, the explanation for that, he played for Europe in 2020, but that was the COVID-19 pandemic edition when we had to turn up. All of us had to test and were isolated, and it was played behind closed doors, which was a very different kettle of fish. This isn't any good. Cue ball welding against the 7. The worst kind of snooker. The worst kind of hook. Self-imposed. Score update from table 1. Albin Ouschan now leads David Al-Kaidi 5-2. So Ouschan staying in that Moscone Cup picture. This crowd has been sensational. Oh, and that isn't sensational. A really clunky miscue and ball in hand.
Yeah, just a quick look. He's tied up the 6 ball. So he's not lost the rack just yet. Yeah, this is becoming a little bit worrying for Amaroto. That place can start to feel like a bit of a cauldron out there. Once you start making a few mistakes, you feel a bit embarrassed.
You're right, Carl, the 6, 7, 8 cluster is irritating, but I think it's a problem that Ping Chung can solve, maybe, off the 5.
Yeah, I agree, Phil. He's got to come below the potting angle, though, so that means the left side of the table. So basically, when he pots the 5 like this, he has the angle. So he's going to go into the rail. I think if he hits just on the right-hand side of the 6 coming off this rail, I think it'll free up the 8 and the 7, and he'll have a shot in the same pocket he's potting the 5. Got to hit this right, though. Yeah, it was a little full. You could see what the cue ball was trying to do. It was trying to squeeze out.
The route to the pocket was blocked, so that's the next best thing.
Three-rail kick in behind. If the 6 ball slows down, that's a result. That's okay. He's 21 years of age, Phil. Kyle Amoroto. He's got the world at his feet. The game of 9-ball, he's growing. Trying to grow a global world tour. What a time to be a pool player this could be.
Again! So close, just catching the near jaw this time. And the green 6 being repelled.
Yeah, that's nice to see, though. Let's see where the 6 hits. Oh, yeah, it catches 2 inches on the rail. Should never go in. Cal needs to play this rail first.
You're definitely poacher turned gamekeeper, you are. Now the cue's been hung up and you're behind the microphone. You're a hard man.
Didn't play rail first. Looked a little edgy in the opening 2 racks. Needs to bear down, knock a long 7 in. Should be guaranteed position on the 8. He's facing Efren. Efren's looking down. Oh, this is very nervy from the young man. You know, at this age, these youngsters, they're all about potting the ball.
Decidedly jittery. There was a shot in the very first rack. He actually knocked it in, but he jumped up on the shot violently, and I thought that was an ominous sign, and indeed it was. having missed the 7. Amaroto really fortunate not to leave an opportunity. It's very early in the piece, Carl, but you get the feeling this could be a really important rack.
Yeah, we know Ping Chung has done it. Done it not that long ago. On the biggest stage of all, the US Open, but the young man from the Philippines, he's very new to all this.
The pot has been left. It's not a gimme, of course not. But for Ping Chung, this should be meat and potatoes. So far, both of these two have been guilty of committing errors, but Chung, who across the world, 11 time zones away on the eastern seaboard of the USA, recently won the biggest prize in Nineball pool, the US Open. Well, he's not assuaged his appetite for success. He wants more here, and he's 2-up in this match against, well, an inexperienced opponent, one has to say that. A very talented one, but inexperienced in Kyle Amoroto. One in the side. And this is a man who proved at the US Open that if you allow him to get on a roll, it's lights out. Talking about that run at Harrah's in Atlantic City, he won the final 4 racks of his quarter-final against Max Lechner. Then he whitewashed Aloysius Schaap 11-0 in the semi-finals, so that was 15 consecutive racks. Then in the final against Fedor Gorst, he was 6-3 down and reeled off 10 racks on the trot. Let's put it this way, Ping Chung in the groove can steamroller anyone. Ten years on from being World Nineball Junior Champion, I think it's fair to say, Kyle, he's become a senior figure in the game.
Yeah, there'd be a case for saying he's at the top right now. I know Ruiz is still the world number 1, and rightfully so. But Ping Chung, every time he seems to screw the old cue together, he's at the business end.
Well, talking of the World Nineball Tour rankings, he started this tournament at number 5. At the start of the day, with all points added, he was up to number 3, and if he were to win the event, he'd be number 2, only headed by FSR. Break and run out. The mistakes early on eradicated there. Ping Chung leads by 3 racks to 1. Now what about this other quarter-final over on table 1? Well, Albin Ouschan is in a very powerful position now against David Al-Kaidi, the Austrian leading by 6 racks to 2. And just a reminder, if Ouschan does get to 10 and progresses, that will mean the battle for the final European automatic Mosconi Cup place will go into the final day here tomorrow. Mosconi Cup not a consideration for Ping Chung. He just wants to keep lifting individual silverware.
I really do like this view of the camera coming in on the break shot, trying to put the one in the opposite middle, so the far middle pocket. Go, you let me down. Going back to the final day, Phil, at the US Open, he put on a breaking masterclass. He really did. He beat Yap in the semi-finals. He made the 1 ball in the side pocket every single break. In the final, I think he may have missed it once, if my memory serves me right, and just a faultless performance.
Well, it was a perfect game against Yap. He potted 99 balls his Singaporean opponent potted 0.
It's not going to get there, but the fact that the cue ball has finished on top of the pink 4 will help. That will make life very difficult.
Sometimes only a containing safety is there. Bridging over a ball he could not be too ambitious. Now this is the important action over on table 1, where Albin Ouschan makes a real mess of that 7 ball. Remember, David Al-Kaidi, already the architect of quite a fight back today against Lee Van Corteza, and he's well capable of producing another. That was a very poor one, wasn't it, Cole?
Yeah, a little bit like that one. That was a mile off. Al-Kaidi's got a tight 8 ball here. Yeah, good pot, so he's going to pull another rack back.
Well, that's botched 7 from Albin Ouschan. Was expensive. Al-Kaidi cuts the deficit to 6-3. And talking about cutting deficits, Kyle Amoroto really should do that here.
Gonna have to pull the cue ball back. That's a good shot on this 5 ball. Just needs to run the table here, just settle him down. It's understandable, 21 years of age, never played in an arena like this. He's got the goat. Start watching him. Efren Batareya is probably somebody who is idolised as a youngster. Well, he's still young. That's wobbled in. He's just not quite cueing the ball as pure as he would like at the minute. He's definitely feeling it.
We need to cut him some slack, because this is the most important match, the biggest match, the most lucrative match of his life. He got to the last 16 of the UK Open in London back in May, losing out to Skylar Woodward in the end. He was talking to Michael McMullen earlier today, and he said there was one key missed 9-ball that still haunts him. And he also reached the last 16 of the Perry Open here in Hanoi a week ago. Hasn't played an awful lot of major international pool. So to get to the quarters here, a major feather in the cap.
Yeah, and with this crowd, Phil, as well. I know he's been to the final 16, but it just feels different this week, doesn't it? It's like the first big major over here in Asia.
You know, I think the health of any sport is indicated by the amount of youthful talent playing the game. Now look at Kyle Amoroto from the Philippines. 3 years his junior, a player we've talked about already, Bernie Regalario, the hotbed that is Filipino pool. They continue that production line of producing simply terrific players. And now, thanks to the World Nineball Tour, they've got so many chances to showcase their abilities all over the planet. That was a much needed clearance. The 5-ball thought about staying above ground, but in it went. And now Kyle Amoroto trailing by just a single rack. Where's the 9? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You are golden. It is very abruptly 3 racks each. Nothing like a golden break to wake everyone up. It was 3-1 to Ping Chung. Now We've seen so much good pool today. Right from the get-go, quality has abounded. We've seen drama also. And this is a city. It's appealing at night, isn't it? It's called the City of Lakes, for obvious reasons. But here, we're on dry land in the National Indoor Gymnasium. And Ping Chung, who's the man of the moment at this current stage of the Nineball season. Well, early on he's facing some stiff opposition from Kyle Amoroto. It was a golden break from Amaroto in rack 6. What about the 7th? We have had back-to-back golden breaks already in this tournament. The 9 was moving. The 3 stopped it in its tracks. But I think that might be the next best thing. A really good layout. All the balls open. 1 is in. Clear shot on the 2.
Yeah, I believe if the young man can just run a rack and put a few balls, it'll just help him settle down and he can really try and focus on winning the match. As he hooked himself behind the 9, needs to find the back rail. That's okay.
Also okay for Albin Ouschan on table 1. He's extended his lead, the Austrian, the former World Nineball champion, twice over. Leads David Al-Kadi 7-3.
Just got to watch his speed here. Yeah, them shots can get away from you a little bit. He had a massive margin for error. Wants to come down centre of the table, anywhere in the centre. Oh, trick shots, Phil. This will get the crowd going.
The behind the back shot now in snooker. That's the preserve of Mark Williams. It's a risky business though. You've only got to mistime that and you look foolish. When he led 3-1, I made the point that if Ping Chung gets on a roll, he could demolish any opponent, including Amaroto. It's all a very different feel now, though. That is golden break in rack 6, followed by a very accomplished break and run out in the 7th. So, what do you make of this so far, Carl? I think certainly in the last 10 or 15 minutes, the prospects of Amaroto have really improved, and on table 1, the prospects of Albin Ouschan, as he's got a clearance chance here, improving all the time.
Yeah, the winner of this table will play our feature table. Albin Ouschan was 7-2 down in the last 32 to Shane Van Bonin. Looked like Shane was going to qualify. Albin put up a great performance, great comeback, managed to win the match, and he's looking good for a spot in tomorrow's semi-final. Okay, the young Filipino. It's a nice break. Is he going to have a pot on the 2? He isn't.
Now that was a clever play, and it was also well executed. That's the thing with defensive shots. You need to think clearly and then cue well.
That was a good hit. So important when you're kicking out in certain situations to just not overplay the shot. Just make sure you get good contact. Perfect example in this rack because the red 3 ball is tied up. It doesn't pot anywhere. There's the older brother on the right, Ko Ping. And the youngest of Ko brothers on the left, Ko Ping Han. He can play the game as well. Not got the CV like the other 2 brothers just yet. But what a story that would be, Phil, if the youngest brother can win a big major as well.
From what I've seen of him, he would need to bring about a radical improvement, but we know the family legacy is one of winning. Now the gap is there. Had plenty of shot choices, did Ko Ping Chung, and he's not played that one well at all. That was weak. Yeah, I agree. Not too good, was it? Ko Ping Yi, though, the elder of the 3 brothers, so supportive of Ko Ping Chung. When Ko won this afternoon in dramatic circumstances, he was the first to congratulate him, and that was after his own defeat against Fedor Gorsht. Now, Ko Ping Chung's previous shot was poor, but the attempted pot was even worse.
Yeah, just missed a few balls so far in the opening 7 racks. Got away with it though. Now has he left another gap here, Phil? No, he's not. He's got the cover, but I think Kyle can get the short stick out. Maybe attempt the jump shot. If he actually pots it, which is a very difficult pot by the way, I think the cue ball might come out and have a shot on the 4 ball as well. Hit it too full as he fluked it. Well, Phil, this rack's all about the gaps. I think he's left another gap here.
There's a very famous snooker commentator in the UK called John Virgo. He's got a number of catchphrases. One of them is, "There's always a gap." He'd like to commentate on this rack because he'd be proved right.
This looks a little short of pace to me.
Wow. The pot success rate for both of these two isn't what we thought it would be.
He's been like this all day, Phil. He's just not quite been at the races. You know, you're not always going to play your A game. I said this before. Sometimes you've just got to scrap it out. That's what he did against Lechner in the last 16, and to be honest, it looks like he's going to have to do the same here unless he gets help from Amaroto, and he is getting help.
Tell you who badly needs help, David Al-Qaedi, and the reason for that, he's just fallen 8-3 adrift against Albin Ouschan, the Austrian. So formidable for a number of years now, might be getting back to his trophy winning best. The crowd loving it, but the acknowledgement, it was lucky, took the sting out of their applause. One of yours, Carl.
Well, yeah, I mean, he held his hand up, but there's always a chance of it going in that pocket. That didn't go in clean. This is what I mean, he's just not quite cueing the ball sweet yet. He'll grind away, though. This is what you've got to do to win pool tournaments. You don't play your A game every match as he misses the 7. Is he going to get lucky? He isn't. This is a chance for the young man.
He seemed to lurch at that. Very unconvincing.
Both players struggling in this second semi-final. Quarter-final, rather, to get to the semi-final. This will settle him down. Yeah, that's better. Needs to get past the 8. No one can take control of the match, Phil.
And even in potting that 7, he was jumpy. But he will not miss the 9. If he does, it would be astounding.
And he stayed very still on the 8 ball.
Ping Chung cannot complain about a lack of chances. Particularly missing the 7 was unforgivable. Kyle Amoroto, the outsider, could he cause a major upset as he did earlier this week when he beat Shane Van Boening? Well, right now he's halfway to victory because he leads 5-3. Over the years, the Philippines has been a production line of great talents. When you look at the roll of honour for the World Nineball Championship, plenty of Filipinos are on there. 1999 in Cardiff, Wales, Efren Reyes was the champion. Ronnie Alcano, 2006, Francisco Bustamante, he also won. Carlo Biardo. And that man's name is on the trophy twice as well, Albin Ouschan, 2021 and 2016. think it's one of the great feelings for any top-level professional sportsman. When they've had wonderful success, then they have a lull. When they start to come back into the heat of battle and achieve things again, that must be a great sense of relief.
Cue ball's got kicked around the table. It looks like it's ended up in a spot where he can pop the 2.
After that break, Ping Chung will have been looking around the table for any form of solace. Maybe the 7 and 8 being so close together could provide it. Just sense the way things have gone though so far. There's still a miss or two in young Kyle Amoroto.
It's too hard, this. I wonder if you can play the carom. That's where the cue ball hits the lowest ball. The cue ball hits another ball and that other ball falls in the pocket. If he can, he could play a good hook behind the 8 ball.
You might have heard the referee there, Marcel Eckhart, saying, extension please. Basically, it's a 30-second shot clock with one 30-second extension per player per rack, and right here, Amaroto taking it. Yeah, the carom was on, he made it look easy.
This needs to hold up. Yeah, just held up.
There. This is one of the world's fastest growing cities. It's in the Red River Delta. It's the city of lakes. It is Hanoi in the north of this beautiful country. Tourism in this part of the world is ever growing. There are some world-class golf courses emerging now with really good designers. The weather is pleasant, the food delectable. And this week, the best players in the world of pool have been in town. The best players and some youngsters, Carl, who are trying to become the best, like Kyle Amoroto. He's just come of age at the age of 21. Maybe this weekend he'll come of age as an international pool campaigner.
Yeah, and he started to wake up in this match. Shaky start, understandable. Big stage, big crowd. The GOAT, Efren Reyes, is watching, front row in the VIP section, just above where he stood actually. He's playing the US Open champion. He's beat 5-time US Open champion this week, SVB, Hill. And he knows if he wins this match in the main arena, he comes back tomorrow, Phil, in the semis, probably believing he can win because he's won a match in this arena. If you win a match out there, it's amazing how much belief that can give you.
The breaking news here over on table one, Albin Ouschan has defeated David Al-Qaedi 10-3. So 3 of our semi-finalists are known: Ouschan, Shaw and Perlovanovic. And
they're all European, hunting to get in that Team European side.
Yes, although Perlovanovic can't get in mathematically now, if he were to snap off this title, I'll tell you what, he'd have a powerful argument for a possible wildcard. Ouschan and Shaw can claim the third automatic spot to join Al-Qaedi and FSR Sanchez Ruiz. I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute, Carl. Not when a vital exchange in this rack is going on, though, between racks.
Should play this into the bottom left, because at the right pace he'll be able to cheat the pocket enough. Don't want to play this ball hard, like a little soft draw shot. Also, we have shot clock referee just outside of vision, and when 10 seconds and 5 seconds is here, they shout out. So also players, Phil, have to be aware of this, because upon backstroke you don't want to hear that being shouted out. That would make you jump.
Well, that was the case when Fedor Gorst missed the 7th ball in the last rack against Jason Shaw. The timekeeper quite correctly called out 5 seconds just as he pulled the cue back. The timekeeper was doing his job. He did nothing incorrect. Maybe it affected Gorst because he missed the 7 by quite some distance and promptly conceded. There's no concession here, but I'll tell you what, Kyle Amoroto is very much getting on top. When you recall, it was a break-in run out from Ping Chung to lead 3-1. That means Amaroto has won the next 6. I think what really sparked Amaroto into life, he won the 6th rack with a golden break, and then the 7th with a break and run out. And since then he's looked, as Carl said, a lot more settled. 3 more needed to spring an upset. had to reach even more uncharted territory. There can't be any complaints about that call.
No, he does have a look at the two again. This is a little thin one. Building himself up for this nicely. I like the fact that he's taking his time. Oh, he's found the gap. He's found a lovely little gap. Started to play well now, hasn't he, Phil? He's settled into this match.
Kyle the Killer, they'll be calling him. Doesn't play a full slate of international tournaments, certainly not yet. His run-outs on the big stage have been quite limited in 2023. But he's got all the attributes.
Yeah, just needs another good shot here. He may try and hold it and play the 7 in the corner if he can. He could probably hold it for the middle as well. Yeah, that rattled him, but he really had to dig into the cue ball there. So now he can play it into the side. Might be tempted to play for the 8 in the same pocket here. All depends on how steep the angle is. Can he hold it for the top right corner? Yeah, that's what he's done. He's really settled now. The opening 4 racks, he looked very shaky. What a nice rack this has been. And this is a big, big lead he's built up now, Phil.
To such an extent that you have to say now that Kyle Amoroto, having started the match as the outsider, is very much the favourite, even though Ping Chung's capable of pulling this back. Kyle Amoroto in a very powerful position, leading by 8 racks to 3. He needs 2 more to make the semi-finals of the Hanoi Nineball Open Championship, the inaugural version of this tournament. Already there, Sanjan Perlovanovic of Bosnia, Jason Shaw of Scotland, and my new co-commentator, Albin Ouschan of Austria.
Hi, Phil.
It's not been a good year for you, Albin, by your very high standards. But you've come here, you've battled hard, and I think against David Al-Qaedi to win 10-3, that was perhaps the most satisfying performance from you for quite some time.
Yeah, definitely. I came here from a long trip and many tournaments in a row, so I was a little bit exhausted. But I was looking forward to this tournament, and it's crazy here with so many fans. They're fair, they're nice. So I was kind of extra motivated to play good here, and I did, especially in the last 2 matches since I beat Shane. So yeah, semifinals tomorrow, looking forward.
Careers turn around, either good or bad. I think for you, the positive turnaround, if you do go on to win this tournament, maybe if you don't, might be that Shane Van Boening match. 7-2 down, he'd won 7 racks in succession. But you never gave up, you battled hard, and in the end got the verdict.
Of course, when you're 7-2 down, I mean, you gotta hope for a miracle, especially against a player like Shane. But I was trying to relax a little bit more, take less time on every shot. So and it turned out quite well, I would say.
When he went in off after potting that 6, your heart must have missed a beat.
Yeah, definitely. There were so many tough balls. The jump shot was crucial. Made many important shots at the right moment. So yeah, no, it was a great match, and I was proud about my performance.
Now, what do you make of this young man from the Philippines, Kyle Amoroto? Do you know much about him?
Pretty much nothing, to be honest. Of course, you always hear the names, but I never saw those faces. Actually, I always heard the name Amaroto, Feliciano, however they are called, Pinoy Power. I always hear, but yeah, I mean, they're all so super talented in the Philippines. It's just absolutely crazy. But I'm looking forward. I mean, it's not over yet, 8-3. Ko is a big-time fighter. So he definitely will have, if he has one more chance, he's going to try to take it and to win, maybe.
Now, you and your sister Jasmine have got a bulging trophy cabinet back home in Klagenfurt. But there's always room for one more. Tomorrow, that's the main objective. But also, there's the subplot of Mosconi Cup qualification. If you were to nail down that 3rd automatic place, I know you'd be delighted.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you don't want to wait for the call to get the wild card. You always want to qualify directly. I'm in the semi-final. I don't think about winning right now. I just want to do my best and play like I played today. I definitely need some rolls. I need a good break. So there's a lot of factors that it has to be perfect for tomorrow to win the tournament. But yeah, I'm totally ready.
And I was making this point on commentary earlier, and I was making an assumption here. You've been so successful, double world 9-ball champion. You've been there, you've played brilliantly in the Mosconi Cup, ice cool under the most intense pressure. Tournament wins all around the world as well. Now for you, as I said before, 2023 has been a little bit of a lull. So to come out of that, does it give you greater satisfaction than when you are riding high?
Of course. Maybe I got a little bit too relaxed after winning so many tournaments. I've been on top of my game for 2-3 years, so maybe I got a little bit too chilled and didn't focus enough. But also in the game of 9-ball, it can go so quickly. Sometimes you play almost perfect, but if the opponent plays better or has just a little bit more luck, it can decide a match, especially this year. I had many ups and downs. Then all of a sudden I was struggling with my confidence. So it's just nice to be back in the semi-final, to get that spirit and feeling and have that confidence a little bit back, and hopefully it's there tomorrow.
We wish you all the best. Now it's just a matter of who will provide the opposition. You've told us you don't know anything at all about Kyle Amoroto. I know you know an awful lot about Ping Chung.
Yeah, he's been there now for quite a few years together with his brother. Just won the US Open, which is just an incredible achievement after losing the 2nd round, and he had a hill match in the, I think, loser round 3 or something. So he went through every stage you can possibly can at a tournament, and to pull that off also with the donut in the semi-final, and he just played great, and he played so relaxed, I think, in the final, which is just nice to see. And yeah, crazy talented player, of course. He got everything, and as I said, this match is far from over. He got all the gadgets to win this match.
The way the World 9-ball Tour is set up, these days. It's tough to win 2 tournaments in the same calendar year, let alone back-to-back majors. If he were to do that, boy, that would be something else.
The crazy part is even more that if I wouldn't win this year or this event now, it would be the first time without a trophy since 2015.
You know, there's an Australian who plays on the snooker tour called Neil Robertson, and he's very proud of the fact that he's won at least 1 tournament every year. It's on his mind, and of course it's on yours.
Yeah, of course. When you've been there on the street of success, you want to stay on that street or even come back on that street, because you got so many options to win a tournament. But the level raised incredible. I think the last year so many players had a big breakthrough. You can name at least 10 or 15. I think, to be honest, at a tournament like that, there are at least 20 players or 25 players who can win this tournament. And I think it's hard to know any other sport where that is possible.
So, I have to ask you this question as Ping Chung goes about potting this 8. Any preference? Who do you want to play in the semi-final tomorrow?
Well, I would say Amaroto. Oh, I think he came short here. Oh, got a little bounce. I think I would say Amaroto because he hasn't been there yet at a semi-final at the Matchroom event, and
one quarter-final left to be determined. Kyle Amoroto, not a great amount of international experience. You might have heard Albin Ouschan saying he'd never really seen him play before. Carl Boyes said the same thing when Albin came into the commentary box. I think Carl thought he might have the night off, but that's not the case. Albin's now gone to have some rest and prepare for tomorrow. So I'm saddled with box office again.
My apologies, Phil.
Thought he spoke very well though, Albin, very honestly. And he's one of those players, Carl, and you'll know what I mean. Yes, he likes winning, but he hates to lose. And so when he gets on a run like this again, after what's been an unproductive year for him, he must be over the moon.
What was he saying then, Phil? Come on, give us the goss.
Well, he was saying that he's trying to not really think about the Mosconi Cup situation. He's just concentrating on lifting the trophy. And he actually admitted that after winning the World Championship, he thought he might have become a little too relaxed for his own good. His CV's wonderful, and maybe, I'm putting words in his mouth, but this is paraphrasing, maybe he thought that he'd taken his foot off the gas a little. But this year has been a wake-up call, and now here he is in the semi-finals to play one of these two. And I, for one, am not dismissing the chances of the man at the table, even though he faces a large 4-rack deficit.
Yeah, and this is awkward. That's the shot he's faced with. Looks quite easy from there, but this is thinner. It's a bigger cutback, and he'll play this with right spin, so you've got to allow for that. Yeah, good shot.
Open table, it should be a clearance, but he's missed some balls in this match.
Does the fight back start here? 8-4 down.
This crowd hoping for another tied finish, and they might well get one. It was 8-3 to Kyle Amoroto. Now though, that gap is being slowly closed. And it's been a tournament notable for recoveries and fightbacks, helped of course by the winner breaks format. In an early round we saw poor old Billy Thorpe. He was 8-1 up on Anton Raga of the Philippines in a race to 9 and ended up losing 9-8. It was a devastating defeat for Billy the banker, because he was here trying to chase Mosconi Cup inclusion. Another thing Albin said, he didn't know anything at all about Kyle Amoroto, so you're in a good club there, you're in good company.
Yeah, this is the beauty of where we're at now. This is why we've come over. Obviously Kyle played at the Nineball Open. He's played in a few of the other major events, of course, and obviously we know the name, we've seen him play, but he's just so fresh to the tour. Just 21 years of age, and he's got Ping Chung 8-5 here to book a place into tomorrow's semi-final. What an achievement that would be, Phil.
I think it would show the rude health of Nineball So many youngsters emerging. We talked earlier about Bernie Regalario, 18 years of age, and in this event he beat Denis Akolio 9-1, and he also beat Ping Chung 9-2. That sent Ko to the one-loss side of the draw. He made pretty easy work of it. Nevertheless, that was a rude awakening in his first match of the event. Tell you what though, if he can come back and win this, as Efren Reyes looks on, if he can come back and win this, Ko, I think he'd be armour plated going into tomorrow, because he's staring down the barrel. It was great to see Efren play the exhibition against Win Antoine earlier. He's had so many great victories over the years, but I think people remember him more for his demeanour and also for some of the remarkable shots he's pulled off. These remarkable shots you can still see, watched by millions on YouTube.
Yeah, some of the things he does on a pool table, he's quite magical. Just not hitting the break where he wants today. He's been struggling to find the one in the side. This will cut back. Can he get the cue ball back down table? Maybe left spin. We'll need quite a lot of left spin. Watch outside pocket, it's close. Always going to be tricky, Phil, to get back down for the blue too. That was always the danger.
It's amazing. Things happen in Nineball. So many twists and turns all week. I think today, though, has been the best of the lot. The only thing missing today, a match that goes hill-hill. How this crowd would love to see one right now, right here. Just looking at the potting angle here. Wow, this is dinky. Look at that near jaw jutting out. That's why he had to go to the far pocket, and he overcut that by a country mile.
It's landed awkward and all for Amaroto. Could bank it back over to the opposite side in a parallel line, get the cue ball up behind the green 6. You could also split the balls like this. The bank's close. Doesn't want to stay over the corner pocket.
Muttering away to himself. I'll tell you what, this is a fact. Kyle Amoroto has never felt this level, this extent of pressure. It's how he responds. And also whether the balls conspire against him. Well, there, they said, come on, get this job done. What a shot that was.
Incredible shot. Fires it up the rail. Ping Chung had one earlier on, if you remember, where he held his hand up. Swings and roundabouts, Phil. This is what makes Nineball edge of the seat stuff.
It was just the pace that ball went in like a rabbit down its hole.
This is a big shot coming up. There's a bit of distance. And he's got to find the gap in between both balls, so he needs to play this with left. That needs to travel. He's going to get there, you know. It's going to get there. What a chance for a 9-5 lead.
This crowd loving every moment. They've been here since first ball, pre-lunchtime, and now this is the only match to entertain them. All eyes trained on this.
It's good enough, you know. It is good enough.
Now that wasn't the most technically brilliant shot using the bridge or the rest, depending on your preferred terminology. And that's why there's a grain of doubt about this 9-ball. The cue ball a little close to that side rail. He could wobble this.
What a moment, Phil. What a moment.
Well, the cue delivery with the rest was very, very jerky indeed. And I'm not going to say I saw it coming, but I thought there was a possibility. And there you are. No such error from Ping Chung. Now, how about this? When Kyle Amoroto broke through in many respects and got to the last 16 of the UK Open at the Copper Box Arena in London in May, he lost out to Skylar Woodward, and the big reason he missed a vital 9-ball. History repeating itself? Well, that will be on his mind, there's no doubt, because you don't forget stuff like that. In fact, he was chatting earlier on today to Michael McMullen, and he was mentioning the 9-ball. It was still up there, and this one might be as well if he goes on to be defeated. (8-6). And now in rack 15, Ping Chung has the momentum. Kyle Amoroto has suffered a major setback. Shaken in his boots. And as if by magic, the one ball that has been causing him problems goes in. It's amazing, isn't it, how the pool gods make life so difficult for you. They give you all of these trials and tribulations.
Yeah, and rightly so, because 2 balls left for Amaroto to go 9-5 up, Phil. Such a healthy lead. Ping Chung knows how important this rack is now. Needs a good shot here from 2 to 3 ball.
Yeah, he didn't want the contacts on the pink 4. And prudently doing that.
Needs contact. Always going to be difficult to hit there. Kyle was locked up in jail by the fantastic safety from Ping Chung. Ball in hand to get to just one behind. Literally, Phil, about 3 minutes ago, could have been 9-5.
Carl, you've been out there in the cauldron when you've had a big lead and suddenly it's being eroded due basically to your own mistakes. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it's one of the worst feelings you can have as a sportsman, as a pool player, whichever sport you play, competing at the highest level, because you feel like now all the pressure's on Amaroto. He feels like he should have been 9-5 up with the break, 1 foot in the semi-finals for the first ever time. Now he's got to dig deep. He's got to hope he gets chances.
We must also make the point it would be the biggest prize money check of his career as well. The scalp of Ping Chung in front of a worldwide television audience and a massive crowd here. So many plus points if Amaroto could get over the line, but right now the pendulum has swung against him.
May play this in the centre, but playing it into the top left has to be the obvious choice. You would only ever pick centre if you feel like you're guaranteed, just because playing it into the corner makes it a bigger pocket. May have to play it quite hard though. He's going to do it, you know, Phil. He's going to pull it to just one behind. Literally less than 10 minutes ago, Amaroto had 2 easy balls for a 9-5 lead.
What a fine and you can see why. Here, well, it's a case of a comeback on the books. 8-3 down, Ping Chung, now just 8-7 adrift. And what's more, he gets to break off in rack 16. Can he haul himself back onto level terms and deepen the dismay of Kyle Amoroto?
What's he got here, Phil? He has got a look at the 2-ball. It's long. It's into the top left corner pocket. The 3-ball, it's actually okay. If he pots this, he's guaranteed position on the 3. And having a quick scan around the table, all the balls are in the open. He'll feel like if he gets this shot right, it's as good as the rack over.
This is not exactly a massive call. I think he's playing better now than at any point in the match.
Well, this is what the top boys do, Phil. As soon as a player makes a mistake like that, they pounce, they punish, they get themselves back in the match. Even if they've not been playing great, they smell blood.
Yeah, reprieved man syndrome. When we had the company of Albin Ouschan for those 3 racks, Albin was saying, when I asked him the question, he was very honest. I said, who would you prefer to play in the semi-finals? And without any hesitation, he said, Kyle Amoroto. So maybe his wish won't be granted. At the time he was saying this, of course, Amaroto was looking good. I thought, though, his response was refreshingly frank, because I would have said the same thing. You want to play the player who you're most likely to beat, and let's face it, in terms of pedigree, in terms of stature, in terms of career CV, Ping Chung head and shoulders above Amaroto. It might change in the future, of course, but right now, he's the man.
How many times do we see this, though? We've seen it in the first match of the night here. The comeback from Fedor Gorst right at the end. Just like flicking a switch, Phil. A match can turn on its head just like this one.
Yes, the revival of Fedor Gorst ultimately failed against Jason Shaw, but you can't escape the feeling this one might be successful. 5 racks on the trot. He started breaking and running as well, which is really worrisome. And it was all about that 14th rack, wasn't it? Kyle Amoroto, he didn't play the best of 8 balls using the bridge. He left the cue ball a little too close to the side cushion, and he missed the 9, overcutted by some distance. It was a crushing blow, and since then he's been confined to his chair. Not a nice place to be. And suddenly, Carl, there's a fluency to Ping Chung's game.
Yeah, and why wouldn't there be? He will have been sat in his chair at one point thinking, oh wow, I'm going to need to win the last 5 racks. From 9-5 down, that's not the case. He's breaking, it's 8-8.
Remember, he was 9-7 down to Max Lechner earlier on today, when the last 3 racks, when the back is against the wall, he's steadfast. Oh, this time though, the one doesn't play ball.
Yeah, and it doesn't pass the red 3, so I believe we should see Kyle get back to the table here. Where's the one ball going? No, he's left a gap here, Phil. Don't know how much of this pocket Kyle actually has. Looks like he's got to play it into the rail, which could be awkward because he's got to play this quite firm to get on the blue too.
He's got enough, let's put it that way. Now can he hold himself together and try and erase the memory of this 9-ball and reset?
Well, this is a tough shot. It really is. Only because I think he has to play it into the rail, so that feels... can start to play mind games on you. He may have to strike down on the cue ball. He's trying to pull the cue ball over towards that purple 5. Yeah, and it's easy to fire it in the rail, and he's left Ping Chung a chance.
The crowd are doing our job for us, aren't they? They're letting out their emotions. It's one of those things. I was over the other side of the arena earlier on, not with the line of sight on the table, and there's a certain cheer. It's a little bit like being at a golf tournament when someone has a hole in one. It's a massive cheer. That's a golden break maybe, or a spectacular shot. And when someone messes up like that, it's a collective groan. They empathise with the plight of the young man at the moment, Kyle Amoroto. Well, we've heard of bend it like Beckham. That was bend it like Go. Just wanted to get some extra time here to gather his thoughts, so he's taking his extension.
Pace it. This is pace it. Needs to slow down. Yeah, there's the smile he knows. Now, what angles he got here? These tables are super fast. That's why he's striking down on the cue ball. He can't just roll this ball in. He's got to kill this. Oh boy, the cue ball excellence from Ko there. He made that look very easy. Believe me, when you stood behind it, your timing has to be perfect.
Because if you decelerate, there's a great chance you might overcut the ball. The Ko Ping Chung lead is restored. The last time he was in front, it was a while ago now. It was 3-2. Then it was 6 racks in succession from that man, Kyle Amoroto. But the rot is set in. No wonder he's shaking his head. The whole complexion of this match has changed. That's his latest mistake. It was a high tariff shot, no doubt about it. But after the tough one was missed, Ko went to work. And the best shot of the lot, I agree with Carl, was the 5. Not the pot, but the way he held position. 9-8. Tell you what, Carl, they call a lot of sports the cruel game. It could well apply to Nineball pool. So this is what's happened so far today. In a grudge match, these two are rivals now. Jason Shaw beat Fedor Gorst 10-8. Sanyan Pilovanovic and Albin Ouschan coming through on table 1 by the same score, 10-3. It's been a rare old session this evening. One more match to be completed, and Ko Ping Chung wants to complete it right here. No more delays. The last thing he wants, hill with his opponent breaking.
He's on this, Phil. He has found the gap again in this match. It's all about the gap finder. Ko has found it. This is a chance for the match.
This is completely stealing a catchphrase, but maybe it's a case of stop the car. In these instances, it's easy to say, yeah, Ko Ping Chung feeling great. How bad will Kyle Amoroto feel in the next few moments if indeed Ko clears up?
Well, I believe he's going to. He has flicked the switch from nowhere, struggled the whole match up until that missed 9-ball at 8-5.
But Carl, you and I should know better. Nothing's a certainty.
Extension called.
Nothing assured. That's why on a very simple part he's taking his extension. Keeping it simple, not trying to do too much. In the opposing chair, it's that sinking feeling.
Well, I think we're watching the best player in the world at the minute, Phil. He's the man in form. If he's not winning tournaments, he's there at the depth. Even when he's losing by big score lines, he's got the ability to just flick the switch, turn it around and get the win. That is what he has done here in this quarter-final.
Allowing himself a premature celebration, but you can't blame him. How about that? 7 racks in succession from the US Open champion, Ko Ping Chung. He was 8-3 adrift. He was 1 foot out of the door, but then came rack 14.